It's uploading right now.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's go.
All right, welcome back for another season of Spoken Truth. As we await, the beginning of the NBA regular season, which is just about 3 weeks away. I'm one of your hosts, Chaz.
And I'm Danny.
And before we get into a few topics, Danny wanted to update you on a few changes that we have for this season. And then we're going to talk about some of the storylines heading into the latest NBA regular season.
Absolutely. So we heard and listened to the people. So this is what we have in store for this season. We'll be on your screens every week starting opening night of the NBA season. We'll be having guest appearance, including some fans. Spoken Truth is also going digital. So you'll be only be able to see and catch us live on YouTube with other platforms being revealed at a later date. We are also on social media. We will be on TikTok, we will be on Twitter, we will be on Facebook and other social media platforms with those accounts being revealed at a later date. Chas?
Yeah, no doubt. We're gonna have a lot in store for this season. We did a lot last season, 30 episodes. We did a lot of live streams, especially in the playoffs. This year we're gonna get a little more creative with it. We're gonna have, like Danny said, some more TikToks, some more social media presence, and we're hoping to get a lot more content out on YouTube in general. Multiple videos a week. Probably scheduled for about one episode a week. Might try and do more than that. But it's definitely going to be, a great regular season, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I would say for this season, expect the unexpected. Um, expect definitely expect new content. Expect nothing to be the same as it was from last year. Now, we may take some nuances that we did from last year and apply it to this season, but expect a rejuvenated and a different type of atmosphere, whether that's the guests have new faces on, if we get fan interactions with fans coming on the show. So just expect a different vibe from this season than from last season. And last season was outstanding. It was our second season. I did the first season. It seems so long ago. So we're just now getting started, and we're just going to get bigger and better. So join us, subscribe to our YouTube right now, and we will have some more of those other platforms available at a later date as we progress in this season. Jazz?
No doubt there's, obviously a ton to look forward to on our end. And part of that is because there's so much going on in the NBA. So, unless you got anything more to get off your chest, you want to jump into our first topic?
Let's go.
For sure, sounds good. So we're going to talk about both conferences tonight. We're not going to do much on, on anything. We're going to keep it kind of short tonight. And then we're going to do a more full-fledged preview before the season starts over the next couple weeks. Like I said, first week of the regular season starts on Tuesday, October 18th, as the Celtics and the 76ers meet up in Boston, I believe. And then the defending champion Warriors will get their rings. The ceremony.
That sounds so good. That sounds so good. Defending.
Oh man, it's gonna be great to see Draymond and Steph and Clay get another ring. Honestly,
Yeah.
a few years ago, I didn't know if we were ever gonna see it again. And a few weeks we'll get to see that. As well as Andre Iguodala's last season, Steve Kerr getting another ring. There's gonna be so much to look forward to. Like I said, they host the Lakers that night. So let's talk about the defending champs, and we'll talk about the Western Conference first. So what are kind of your thoughts on the conference in general? Do you have some teams that you think are kind of above the rest? And just, what is your overall opinion on that conference right now?
I think this season is when the West takes that throne back as the best conference in the NBA. I think they have a legit maybe 5 to 6 teams that could realistically make some noise in the playoffs. I think as a whole, I don't think the NBA has a lot of title contending teams. So we would get into that a little bit in the East.
Yeah, I think we should get.
Yeah, but I do think the Clippers are a team that need to pay attention to. If when's Kawhi coming back as a question mark, will he be ready for the opening night? Will he be ready for tip-off of the season? How long until you get back in Kawhi mode that we're so accustomed to seeing? Dallas. I'm very shockingly impressed with Dallas offseason. I think I expect this team to be bigger and better. I expect them to finish in the top five. Um, Memphis. I expect Memphis to finish in the top five. I expect some of these teams that were, in that conversation, 5, 6, 7, 8 seeds to finish. I know obviously Memphis finished better than that. But I expect them to make some noise. The team that I'm paying attention more so than than the Memphis and the other teams of the world is the Denver Nuggets. Which you got Jokic coming fresh off of 2 MVPs back to back. You have Murray coming back. We have that team. We've yet to see that team fully functioning and healthy with the supporting cast that they have in tow. So it's going to be very interesting to see what that team can do this coming season. If I would have bet, I will bet that they will finish with the top 2 seed in the East. I mean, in the West. I'm sorry. If I had to bank it, I would say they would finish number one,
Wow.
because I know the firepower that they have. I know what they have the potential to do when everyone is healthy. They have a reigning MVP who led them into the playoffs, and although they didn't get really that far, I mean, he still is the reigning MVP. So you still have to respect his game, and then all of those other pieces that's coming back with them. And you have Murray, his second best player, coming back. Who knows the ceiling for this team? And it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do in this loaded Western Conference. The Golden State Warriors are still the team to beat. Steph Curry is coming off of one of his best seasons, not shooting wise, but as far as what he accomplished. All-Star game MVP, Finals MVP, 3-point record, NBA championship. He got all of the trophies. He got all of the hardware. So this is going to be another year of him. Can we get to number 5? Can we do that repeat? So the Warriors are in the best position possible. I mean, obviously they're the reigning defending champions, but they're in a position to repeat again. And the only 2 teams that I realistically see in their way is Denver and the Clippers. I'm predicting right now there's going to be a Clippers and Warriors Western Conference Finals. I think those 2 teams, when healthy, are the 2 best teams in the conference, and the best team wins. But I do think that the Warriors, obviously, they have to be head and shoulders the favorite. In my opinion, they have arguably the best player in the world right now, Steph Curry. You can make an argument he's 1 or 2, whatever you want to say. We get into that a little bit later as well. But you can make an argument they have the best player in the world right now in his prime. It's crazy that, we still have LeBron, who's still in his prime. We have these older players that are, crossing that 35-ish mark, 34, 33 mark, and they're still performing at this level that they're performing at. So I expect Steph to have a MVP caliber season to make up from the shooting slumps that he had last season after breaking the record. So I expect big things from Steph, as I do every single year. I expect big things for Wiseman, who's coming off an injury, who we've yet to see in this offense as presently constructed. Klay Thompson, another year off of surgery. He's coming back into the fray. He's going to be better. He's going to be stronger. He's going to be healthier. So as I said, the Warriors were a bargaining chip last year. Last year was an anomaly. They wasn't supposed to win the way that they won. They weren't supposed to win the title last year. They shouldn't have been there. But the fact that they did means to me that they're playing this year with house money. House money. Because this was the year that I believed that they were going to win the title. Coming back, fully healthy. Klay Thompson, 2 full years. Steph Curry playing the way that he's been playing. Wiseman coming back. You still got Wiggins playing the way that he was playing. I thought that this was the year, but the fact that they got it last year, icing on the cake. I see the Warriors in prime position to repeat.
I think they're definitely in that conversation. I think you're right that they opened the season as the favorite. But as you mentioned, this is a loaded Western Conference. If somebody else, were to sneak up and get them, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I kind of want to talk about each one of those teams that you mentioned, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of teams as well that I kind of wrote down. Yeah, first off, I agree with what you said on the Warriors. The 2 notes I had were very similar to yours on the Warriors. I'm excited to see what Clay looks like this year because I really think he's going to have a great season.
Mhm.
And then Wiseman, I think he doesn't need to do too much. I mean, I heard Steve Kerr say um, that that Wiseman just needs to come back, worry about his health, and that he's behind Looney, and that's a good position for him because he can just sit back and learn. He doesn't have too much pressure on him, and I think that's exactly right. I don't think there's much pressure on Wiseman at all. He should be able to come in and get reacclimated to it and kind of have a running start before he has any expectations placed on him. So I think they're in a very good spot. With aging guys like Draymond and Clay, and then Steph to a lesser extent. There's, and Iguodala, there's a couple of older guys in that rotation. There's always a chance that you're not as good as you were last year. And then with the younger guys like Kuminga, like Poole, if they don't continue to take a leap and they plateau for a couple years, then that could also be something that gets in the way of another title run. But with that said, I think they're in as good of a position as anybody in the league to win the championship this season. For another team that you mentioned, as I know you said it a few months back, and then you also said it here again that you think the Clippers are going to meet the Warriors in the conference championship. I kind of wanted to ask you what your opinion on. I think a lot of it's going to come down to how good does Kawhi look, how good does PG look. Obviously, they're the two best players on the team, but I wanted to see what your expectations were for John Wall because I don't know how big of a role he's going to have. I don't expect him to start. I think that's still Reggie Jackson's job. But that team is so deep and that team has so many players. What kind of role do you think John Wall is going to have? And how impactful do you think he would be to potentially getting the Clippers to a championship?
I think the reason why I think the Clippers view them as like a legit threat to knock off the Warriors is because they can do that without Wall. Wall is an added bonus to that team. And it's a great bonus to have. We've yet to see John Wall healthy in a couple of years. So what he can do on the basketball court is very questionable. We haven't saw him in real time, in real basketball time, playing. So can he stay healthy? Is the biggest question. Getting him healthy enough and him believing in himself enough to get back on the basketball court and do what he do best. It's hoop. So I think that's the biggest question for him. As for the Clippers whole, what kind of vibe I'm going to get from Kawhi? Is he low management? Is he not playing? All the games that he can be playing potentially. Is he having knick-knack injuries? Is the injuries that he suffered still bothering him? So the questions about the Clippers is all predicated on health. The talent is there. They're very deep. It's just how healthy can they be? Can they cross that finish line? That's yet to be seen.
And it's something that we haven't seen from them yet. And it's troubling because, they are one of the most talented teams. They're one of the most deepest teams. They have one of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah. If not the best coach in the league.
Yeah. I mean, they have two top 15 guys. Like they have pretty much everything except the health. And it's something that, it's hard to see until they prove it. So,
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
this is a prove it year for the Clippers. I think they have all the makings of it. But you just never know when, half of your rotation has dealt with injuries like that, where you feel like maybe something could come up and creep up again. Moving on to another team that you had mentioned with the Grizzlies and the Nuggets. I think both those teams were very good last year. And then, like you said, I think they both have a chance to be even better. Memphis pretty much brought everybody back from a 2 seed. And I think a couple of those guys are continue to get better. Guys like Ja Morant, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm not as high on him as some other people, but I still think he's a very good third option. He's a very good defensive player. And then you add in a guy like Danny Green. I think that was kind of one of the most underrated signings or one of the most underrated deals of the summer. I mean, to add him into the mix on the wing alongside guys like Dylan Brooks, who can be kind of inconsistent, and you bring in somebody like Danny Green, who's been there before. I think that was a pretty good signing. And then same thing along the same lines with the Nuggets. They're going to get more of a boost from Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. coming back, but they also signed guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown, and those are very good pickups. I mean, those are guys that have played in playoff games before. that know how to move without the ball, which is obviously something that the Nuggets specialize in. So, I mean, Bruce Brown is one of the best cutters in the league, and you put him next to probably the best passer in Jokic, and I mean that's a match made in heaven. So, and KCP, a 3-and-D guy, I think that's a perfect fit. So those are two teams that they brought back most of their roster, but I think they also found a way to get a little bit better.
I do think Memphis takes a step back.
I think probably too. The two
I think they take a step
yeah.
back. I'm not saying that I'm not saying they're going to miss the playoff, folks. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that they were 2 last year. I think they take a step back and become maybe a 3-4, maybe even 5. It depends. The regular season is really about, who needs it more when it comes to a home playoff game. I know certain teams really don't need it as much. The Warriors can win on the road. So having the 1
I think
seed,
the Grizzlies are one of those teams that really do need the home court.
I think so. Yeah.
So if
I
they
think
can get
so.
a top 4.
Yeah. And we failed to mention one team.
Is it
Phoenix?
Yeah.
We didn't mention Phoenix.
How good do you think Phoenix is going to be? It's a tough situation.
Phoenix is so hard to gauge now. I mean, I don't know. They have the talent to be a top seed, a top 1 seed, top 2 seed, but I just don't trust them in the playoffs. So,
and not only that, but I think it's going to be a tough regular season, with the Robert Sarver suspension hanging over the heads of everybody.
DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see DeAndre Ayton at media day? He didn't want to be there. I don't even think he wants to be on the team. And I don't blame him at all, because they showed that they didn't want him for a year.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I mean, I think, and also it came out a few days later that apparently Jay Crowder he got told that his starting spot was taken. So he said, I'd rather be traded than come off the bench. So it looks like they're going to probably deal him sometime before the season. So, like you said, they still have a lot of talent. So I'd expect them to be a very competitive team, one of the best backcourts in the league. I would expect Chris Paul to be able to, get a lot out of DeAndre Ayton, just because that's the type of leader he is. But it's
you just sense that their time has come and passed.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you feel the same, but I get a sense that their time has come and passed. Like that chance that they had against Milwaukee was Chris Paul best and last, in my opinion, chance of winning. So
not chance of being a competitive team, not chance of making the playoffs or winning 1 or 2 series, but of winning a championship. I agree. I think they probably had a 2-year window, and they fell short in both years. And maybe depending on circumstances this year, you never know with health, if people start going down, maybe something opens up where they can make a run. But I just think the regular season is not going to be as easy as it was last year. Go ahead.
I know, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Do you want to hop over to the East?
I did just want to mention one more, actually 2 more quick teams that we haven't talked about. I'll make it quick, but the Minnesota Timberwolves, I mean, obviously with the Rudy Gobert trade was highly scrutinized, and I think giving up as much as they did was the wrong call, but I think it was a good idea to go get, the top rim protector in the whole league. I think him, next to Cat is going to allow Towns to do a little bit more. He's going to be able to play the 4 offensively. He's not going to go up against as big of guys on the other end. I think he's going to be able to space it out a little bit more. I also think that the defense is just going to be, probably top 10 in the league just by adding Rudy Gobert by itself. And then you also have Anthony Edwards, who is a very high level defender. And I'm expecting him to take a big leap. I mean, he averaged like 21, 5, and 4 or something last year. I think he's going to be a little bit better in each of those categories. I think this is a team that has a chance to be between the 6 through probably 9. I think they should be on the higher end of that. I think they should be competing for that 5 or 6 seed. And I would probably have them slotted in probably 6th before the season starts. But I mean, that's a team that has a lot of talent. They have a very good top 4 players. And then it depends on how good is Jaden McDaniels. How good does Kyle Anderson play? Because I think that was a good pickup, taking him from Memphis. That's a quality team, or I mean a quality player that was playing pretty big minutes on a playoff team that you were playing against. And then you add him. So I think that's a key role player that they added. I think they did a lot this offseason to make them a team that should be out of that play-in. Last year, I think they were happy to be in that play-in. this year, I think they need to take that next step. So I think they're going to have a shot to do that for sure. And then the last team I wanted to mention before we move over to the Eastern Conference is the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't know what the ceiling is for this team, but I can't wait to watch them on the court. I mean, they have just
See
about every.
Zion,
Oh man, he looks like he's in the best shape I think since high school. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, maybe when he first
top
got to
five
the league,
seed.
I mean, I think they have the talent to do so. It depends. Like they still have a lot of young guys. I think they're going to be relying on. So you never know. Like
Mhm.
Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado. Those guys are going to be playing pretty significant minutes. Dyson Daniels possibly. So, but you talk about obviously McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Zion. Um, that's a hell of a tandem. You add Valanciunas in there, and that's a very good roster. So I think that they're probably in that same mix as teams like the Timberwolves, maybe the Lakers, somebody like that. I think they're in that play-in conversation, and maybe they
I think
can.
they're better than the. I think they're better than the T Wolves.
You do? Okay, I think
Yeah.
they're. I think those teams are going to be like 5, 6, 7, and right there with like the Mavericks probably
Hmm.
competing for that to stay out of the play-in.
Okay. Okay.
But
I like that. I forgot about actually I forgot about all three of those teams you mentioned. Actually, I forgot about the Lakers. It's funny because we were just talking about how we talk about the Lakers all the time. I forgot about them. The Lakers,
yeah, they're a playing team. It looks like.
they're a playing team. Yeah, in
I
my eyes,
mean,
I mean, they're not competing for a title with this current roster. So
not to me. I mean, yeah, we, we
absolutely.
we'll talk more about the Lakers and what it looks like for them probably the next episode. But it looks like their ceiling is probably the play-in. That's kind of what it looks like to me.
I agree. Let's move on to the Eastern Conference. Who are we looking at as far as legit title contending teams in that conference as presently constructed before the season opens?
I have 6. How many do you
You have
have?
6. Okay, let
Yeah,
me write
I
these down.
think. Yeah, I got 6 teams. I think they could actually get out of the Eastern Conference. But this conference goes 10 deep. I
Okay.
think there's 10 like playoff teams in this conference. Obviously, they're not all going to make the playoffs, but you go from the top,
Okay.
the Bucks, all the way down to the Knicks. I think all those teams are playoff quality teams. But as for contenders, I'll give you the 6 contenders that I kind of have in my mind. And that's the Bucks, the Celtics, the 76ers, and then the Heat, Nets, and Cavaliers. And I think there's kind of a separation between those top 3 and the next 3.
I agree. But these are all 6 teams you think could come out of the East.
I think they could. I think there's a
Okay.
pathway for all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I think obviously a team like the Cavaliers, I think it's a little too early. A team like
Hmm.
the Nets, I think there's just too much going on for them to get. But if they
Hmm.
did it, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the talent is there. For Cleveland, I think they have the roster to do it. So, and like a team like Miami, I think they're in that conversation, but I don't really expect them to. But I still think you have to put them in that 6.
Yeah. Um, I definitely agree with the top 3. In that order, Bucks, Celtics, Sixers. Giannis, arguably, I said it about Steph Curry. Arguably, you could say 1-2-2-1, however you want to put it. Arguably the best player in the world. Um, just can do it all. Can dribble, can play defense, can block shots, can give you 30. Um, just inconsistent on the jump shot, but Shaq wasn't consistent in the jump shot either. Celtics, they have their off-season problems right now, as we were discussing before we came onto the show. But they still have a good duo in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They had their names made on the defensive end. They were the top defense last year with the Warriors. Those 2 teams met in the finals, by the way. 76ers. Embiid is Embiid. He put up MVP numbers last year. I thought he deserved to be MVP. James Harden, he looks in shape. How he plays in the corner, how that translates onto the court, yet to be seen. They have Thibault still, and they have some very valuable pieces. So definitely those top 3 is definitely a drop off from the top 3 to the next 3. The Heat, I've never been a fan, and this from the beginning of the season. I'm just not a believer in Miami. I think there needs to be a better player on that team than Jimmy Butler. That's no knock against Butler. I just don't think he can be the guy to lead you to a championship. I know he's been to the finals. Did they overcome it? Absolutely not, because they need someone a little bit better than Jimmy Butler on that team. That's no knock against Jimmy Butler. He's a hell of a player. He's definitely a top 15 player. If last year didn't prove he was a top 15, top 10 player, I don't know what would. The Cavs, young, bright, energetic. I mean, this team is my sleeper to come out of the East because they have the makeup to come out of the East. Yeah. They have poise, they have veteran leadership, they have young talent, they have athleticism, they have chemistry, they have offensive weapons, defensive weapons. They have a complete team. And
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so they are, to me, they are a sleeper team to come out of the East. I mean, I might very well, by the end, halfway into the season, they might be in that group with the Bucks, Celtics, and 76ers. I definitely believe they can finish with a top 5 seed in the East, if not better.
Yeah, I got them slotted into 4 right now. I haven't done my official, but I think they're right there. I think they're, I mean, think about it. They were in the conversation for like 50-60% of the season last year to be a top 4, 5, 6 seed. And then they dealt with Garland and Allen had injuries, and they kind of, tapered off. They ended up being the 9 seed. They didn't even make the playoffs after the play-in. But that team was competing at a high level for more than half the season. You add Donovan Mitchell, a 25-point per game scorer, into that mix. I mean, to me, the sky's the limit if everything works.
They are playing with house money.
Yeah, it's so early.
They're one of the teams. I said there were a couple teams. I mean, obviously, I think the Warriors are playing with house money. To me, the Bucks are playing with house money. The Cavs are playing with house money this year. They just have all the makeup to go far in the playoffs. I would not want to face this team in the playoffs.
Me neither.
Veteran leadership, veteran point guard, youth experience, defense, towers, offense ability. They have the makeup to go very far.
And I think, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, I think like adding Mitchell is going to be able to unlock the other guys around them too. I mean, imagine how good Darius Garland was last year. And then now you can't
times that by 2.
You can't, I mean, you can no longer put your best perimeter defender on him. Now it has to be the second guy. Now he has more catch and shoot opportunities. Now Mobley isn't ever being double teamed, probably because you can't leave either of his guards. So now Mobley is able to create by himself. Now you have Allen open for lob threats even more because you have Donovan Mitchell who attacks the rim. I mean, to me, that unlocks everything. A guy like Isaac Okoro isn't going to be looked at to score at all. Like at all.
For the people asking what's the difference between Allen and Mitchell and Gobert and Mitchell, is very simple. Is that Allen is quicker. Allen, he has a little better of an offensive game than Gobert does. Gobert cannot make perimeter shots. He cannot make shots outside the paint. So that limits your offense of things you can do with him. The reason why I didn't fit so much is that once teams figured out what what Utah was going to do and stopped it, they had no other options. So they didn't have an option B, C, D, because Rudy Gobert was almost unplayable in the playoffs. Because they're using him, Steph Curry was literally pulling him out to the 3-point line and just taking advantage of him. When you have a big guy that really can't move his feet like that, that's why it didn't work. Allen is completely different because Allen can move his feet. Allen is younger. Allen, to me, has a better offensive repertoire, has a better offensive game. And to me, he's just as good as a defender. Rudy might have him on the defensive end, but it's not like Allen's a slouch. So
right. You're talking about the best rim protector in the league compared to probably a 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, Allen is, like you're saying, he's a competent offensive player. He's not somebody that you're ever going to give the ball to and run your offense through, but he is somebody that has a quality hook shot, has quality footwork in the post, and then he's a legitimate lob threat. I mean, Rudy Gobert isn't really that. He has the size, he has the verticality to do so, but he doesn't
know how to use it.
Yeah, he doesn't have great hands though. But Jared Allen does have better hands. He's also better in the pick and roll. I mean, that's one of my favorite teams. Like I was saying, Isaac Okoro, is not going to be looked at to do anything besides defend, and he's a high level defender. And you add him with Mobley and Allen, that's one of the best defensive front courts in the entire league. I know, Garland and Mitchell aren't. That's not a very good defensive backcourt. That's probably one of their few weaknesses because those two, and then also Ricky Rubio and Karis LeVert aren't great defenders. So your backcourt isn't very good on defense, but then you probably have the best defensive front court in the entire league. So, I mean, I don't know if
It
they're
kind of
gonna,
makes up for it a little bit.
yeah, I don't know if this team is gonna, make it to the conference finals. They're probably not gonna make the finals, but this is a team to watch as legitimate contender starting this
Contenders,
year. And it's gonna, I
absolutely,
think it has a chance to go for a few years.
absolutely. And we will definitely be getting into the Cavs more and more this as the season progresses.
Yeah.
But the last team on your list is the Nets. Um, what can I say? It's a soap opera. It's everything's going on in that team. Kyrie Irving, I mean, vaccinated status. Kevin Durant requesting to leave. Now staying, potentially could leave in the offseason. Just so many questions
Ben,
surrounding that team.
Ben
Um, to,
Simmons. Yeah.
yeah, as it always is. To me, again, I'm going to harp what I've been saying for about 3 years now, is that Kevin Durant is not a leader. And he's been places where they've had leadership. That's why he was so successful in Golden State, because he didn't need to be the leader. He didn't need to be the vocal person in the room because there was multiple people to fill that role. He was comfortable in that role because he had a team that done that. So now coming to Brooklyn, trying to establish his own culture, trying to establish himself as the leader and the best player, he's not the leader that people thought he was. And I've always known that, but it's now coming to the light that he doesn't want to be the leader. He just wants to hoop. And that's one of the biggest hurdles for Brooklyn is they need a leader. They need someone to point them in a direction on the court that they should be doing this right now. Kyrie is their leader. And, when Kyrie Irving is your leader, that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. i.e. Boston, So I mean, this team is, I don't know how far they can go. Kevin Durant, to me, right now, he's still a top player in the league. I have him right now at number 4 or 5, because I can name people, that's to me. And that has to be something that has to be discussed further and, as the season progresses. The drop down from Kevin Durant being, without a doubt, people saying if he's 1, 2, or 3, without a doubt, but you're dropping to 5 and 6, and what's going on with that? So why are people doing that? Like, what is that situation? I'm not even going to beat your head with what I've been saying for a long time, that Kevin Durant needs to establish himself out of Golden State. I think that is more evident, clear than has ever been this season, with Steph Curry capturing a championship, with him doing it in the way that he did it, with the offseason in Brooklyn, with everything going on. Now it's more and it's questioned than ever. You thought that individuals questioned his championship in Golden State. Now it's doubled. The people question his championship now that Steph Curry has an elusive one without him. And now people are changing the narrative that, oh, you got those MVPs, but Steph Curry was on your team. So until he wins, again, I've been saying it for 3 years, until he wins before Steph won another championship, until he wins outside of Golden State, people are always going to put that little star by those championships. And that's, you could say it's fair or unfair. It's just the reality.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's going to be hard this year to win it. I mean, like you said, there's just so many obstacles to overcome with this team, with the franchise in general, really. Down to the issues that they've had with the owner because of disagreements that they've had, and then now KD requesting the trade, deciding the team deciding to keep him. He just kind of goes along with it because he doesn't really have much of a say. He never really had any leverage to begin with, besides, will you guys do me a favor and trade me to a contender? And like they should have, they stood strong on it and they kept him.
As they should.
Yeah, there was
You're
no
one of the
reason.
top players in this generation. You're not going anywhere for free. I
Yeah,
mean, come
not
on.
unless we get
Chunk
back.
change.
Yeah, they needed to get back a package that was probably something that we've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody had that. So I think they made the right decision to bring him back. Now the question is, can this team turn it around and actually make a run at a serious championship? Even if they don't win it, can they get in that conversation?
question before we move on to rapid fire. As we said, guys, that this is just a short episode. We're getting your blood flowing, getting adrenaline rushes going into this new season, and we will be with you guys throughout the entire season this year and playoffs and NBA finals. We got you covered. You know, the boys got you covered. Do you think Kevin Durant re-signs in Brooklyn? Do you think, because he doesn't resign, he's on the contract? Let's get that clear. He's on the contract. Do you think he's
4 years,
traded
right?
after for 4 more years at $100+ million? Do you think he's moved after this season? Yes or no?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if he ends up playing out that deal, but I don't think he's going to leave after this season. I actually think they're going to be pretty good this season. I don't expect them to make the finals or probably not even the Eastern Conference finals, but I would expect them to have a pretty good regular season, and then to probably at least win one series once they get to the playoffs. Because, I mean, as much as they do have going on, this is actually a really good roster. It just has to come to fruition. You know, can Ben Simmons get out there and be the player that he was? I don't think he needs to be anything more. I mean, I think everybody wants him to be, but he doesn't really need to be. And then you add guys in like, they went out and got TJ Warren, Markieff Morris, Royce O'Neal. You know, can you have one of those guys step up and have a good year? I would expect TJ Warren to be pretty good for them. I would expect Seth Curry to be, very good for them. I think they have good players on that team. I just don't think it's going to all come together because we haven't seen it before. I would expect them to make the playoff, avoid the play-in. I don't think they're going to have to go through the play-in like they did a year ago, but I also don't expect them to make the finals.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to some rapid fire questions and get out of here. Let you guys go. Let's start off with this. Top 5 players in the NBA.
Top 5, I can't
Let's
do
make
it,
it
man.
structured.
I can't do top 5 because I have 7.
You have 7. Top 7. What's your 7 in order?
Um, I'm not going to do order either, but I'll.
No, in order.
All right, let me
In
lay let
order.
me
We
let me
want to
lay it
hear
out
it.
here.
We want
I
to
don't
hear
know
it
if
in
I have
order.
it order. Let me lay it out here, and then I'll try and put them in order.
You
I
go
definitely.
first.
I'll start it off. I'll
Okay.
go. I definitely have Giannis number 1, and I definitely have Steph number 2.
Okay.
And I think that's been clear for the last few months. I think they were the 2 best players in the playoffs. And I think Giannis is the best player in the world, at this point in his career. And I think Steph, after the season he had last year, I think he's right there. And then I think it gets hard for me just because I've been beating this drum for over a year now, but I think the top 7 players in the league are all on the same level. So just to put them out there, and then I'll put them in order. But those next 5 guys to me are Embiid, Jokic, Luka, LeBron, and KD. To me, those are clearly the top 7 players. And it's really hard to gauge where guys like LeBron and KD are because they were coming off, they were both top 5 scoring last season in the whole
I'm
league.
gonna shock you with this list.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Do you have somebody outside of that top 7?
No.
Okay.
I mean, no. I mean, I got 6 right now. Right now, but I can. Yeah, I definitely have the same 7.
Okay. So I think the conversation honestly is 3. Who do you have at 3?
Jokic.
I think that's where I was leaning too. Do you have Embiid 4 then?
Nope. I got Luka.
Oof. Okay. So how far does Embiid go?
7.
Really? So you have KD and Bron ahead of Embiid?
Yep. I got Steph
Okay.
1, Giannis 2, Jokic, Luka, LeBron, Durant, Embiid.
I can see it. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I mean, like I said, I have those same 7 players. I would probably tweak it a little bit and go Giannis, Curry, Jokic, Embiid, KD, LeBron, Luka.
At this point in time, this is crazy for me to say. Crazy. At this point in time, right now, Luka's better than Durant and LeBron.
I think he was last year. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he is this year.
He got he. Mm.
And he
If
is
not
gonna.
LeBron, he's definitely better than Durant.
I don't know about that. I mean, just the pure efficiency of LeBron and Kevin Durant, I think is probably why I edged him over Luka. He's going to have the counting stats over them. He's probably going to average more points, rebounds, and assists than either of them. But I mean, it's tough with a guy like Luka because he has the whole offense at his hands.
Yeah.
And LeBron kind of has it to an extent, but not as much. And then Kevin Durant is usually playing off of somebody else,
Yeah.
as good of a player as he is. So it's
But we
different.
have the same three. We have the top three. We have the same list, just in
Yeah.
different order. We have the same two. They're just in different order. Well, the same three.
Yeah,
They're just in
same
different
top
orders.
three, just different order, and then we have the
Yeah.
same top seven. Yeah, I think there's a pretty clear distinction. And then you start to get into guys like, is Kawhi still in that conversation? Is Paul George, Jason Tatum? I think has a great, conversation to be number 8.
Mhm.
Jimmy Butler's in that. There's other guys that are right there as well. But I think those top 7 are in a league of their own.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the top two. I mean, these two are to me, there's a little layer between these two, the top two, and then the rest. Not big at all, but definitely is a layer between Steph and Giannis right now. Um, I mean, there's just not two people better than those two in the league. So it's literally like it's me walking out the door right now. And that's the difference between those two and then the Jokic. I have Jokic at 3. I think he deserves it. We're gonna talk about MVP and all that stuff later. But we definitely have the same 7, but I have Steph taking the throne as of right now, and rightfully so. So
Yeah, I think that's understandable after last season. To me, Giannis is better than Steph at this point in their career. If this is, 2022 Giannis against 2016 Steph, I think it goes to Steph. But I think right now, today, I do think, yeah, Giannis is the best player in the world. But to me, those top 7, not only are those the top 7 guys in tier one, in a tier of their own, but I also think that each of those guys has the potential to be the best player on any given night. I mean, you watch Luka some
that's
nights,
fair.
and he looks like the best player in the whole world. And you can
Yeah.
say the same thing about Embiid, Jokic, obviously the others, KD, LeBron, Steph, and Giannis. They've been doing it for years. But all 7 of those guys, and other guys have been in that conversation too. Like I mentioned, like Kawhi was just a couple years ago. So who knows if he's able to get back to that. But coming off of last season, I think those 7 guys separated themselves.
Absolutely. And again, guys, we're going to be talking about this throughout the entire season. Um, this list right here is not fluent. I mean, the list itself, the top 7 is not fluid, but the order can change.
Yeah,
Um,
it can change night by
so
night, night by
it
night.
definitely could change my night. So to me, Steph Curry has been the best player in the world since the 2022 playoffs. Maybe in 2023 playoffs, it will be different. We don't know. 2021, 22 playoffs will be different. But right now, I do think it just edges him out because of the championship. He edges Giannis out. And the superb year that he had. Superb playoffs and finals that he had. And just narrows him out. So now that we have the best players out of the way, let's rapid fire. Who are your MVP candidates? Let's just go down the top of the award honors. Let's do defensive player of the year. Let's do MVP. Let's do scoring champ. Let's do rookie of the year. Let's do those. Let's start with rookie of the year.
For rookie of the year, coming into the season, I got Paulo Banchero being my favorite. I think other guys are in that mix as well. I like somebody a lot like Keegan Murray. I think he has a great chance at it. Can't wait to see Jaden Ivey play. We haven't mentioned the Pistons yet tonight. I think he's going to have a great rookie year, but I think Paulo is going to have the option from day one to kind of control that team. He's going to be the number one priority. He's going to be the number one scorer on that team. I think, him and Wagner are going to play off well together. I think he has a chance to average 20 as a rookie and probably win that award.
Okay. I'm going to actually go with the same person for the same reasons. I think we're dead set on that. Let's go with let's do, you know what? Let's spice it up. MVP. Y'all thought we was gonna save MVP for last, didn't y'all? MVP. Yeah.
MVP, I got my preseason favorite as Joel Embiid. Like you said, he was in that conversation last year. He could have won it as well as the year before until he went down with an injury. I think this is his year. I think the 76ers are going to be either the first or the second seed, probably the second seed in the Eastern Conference behind the Bucks. I think that, along with averaging 30 and 10, is going to be enough to get it done for Embiid.
2 and 3. I'm putting you on the spot.
For what?
2 and 3. I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, for MVP?
Yeah.
That's tough. I got Giannis in there for sure. I think Giannis is going to have a hell of a season. Just coming back with a vengeance, after losing in the playoffs and kind of feeling like they were the better team. Despite not having Chris Middleton, I think he's going to come back and just be phenomenal. So I'll put him at 2, and somebody. I'm going to put Luka 3. I've been saying it for years that Luka. I picked him, I think, 2 years in a row to finish either first or second. And I kind of thought it was too early, maybe, but he's just he's at that level where I think he has a chance. I think this is a year that he finishes in the top 3. I don't know that he wins it. I definitely think he gets one at some point in his career, but I think he's going to finish 3rd this year.
I don't think I'm about to shock you with this.
Let's do it.
I think I'm about to shock you with this.
Who wins it?
I think he has a great chance of winning 3 consecutive MVPs.
Ooh, you think so?
I think he has a great chance. I think Jokic has a great chance of winning a 3rd consecutive MVP.
Is that your preseason favorite?
That right now is my preseason favorite. Ooh. Jokic. Just narrowly beating Steph for number 2. I have Giannis at number 3, Luka at number 4.
Okay.
So it pains me to put Jokic at number 1, but I that's, you can never say I don't respect Denver. You guys can never say I don't respect Denver ever again. Like, the amount of respect I'm giving this team, this up and coming team, of with their abilities to finish number 1 in the conference, Jokic to finish number 1 for MVP, that team could potentially go to the NBA Finals. So I never want to hear, oh, you're slamming Jokic's name or his ability or anything like that. No more of that. I got him finishing number 1, winning 3 consecutive MVPs, and getting bounced out of the playoffs. so all right, what we got next? So we got MVP, we got Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, real quick.
Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go Giannis.
I'm going to go Giannis. Okay. And the last one in that section was I said MVP.
You said scoring champ.
Scoring champ.
Who you got? Last year was Embiid, right?
You know what?
Last year Embiid, I believe.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Luka.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Luka.
I like that. I'll go Jason Tatum.
Tatum. Look, I'm diversifying my portfolio and all these players. I'm giving Luka some credit.
Yeah, you sound like really pro Luka and Jokic for the first time ever.
I like they did something to me over the offseason, I guess.
They won you over? They won
me over just a little bit. Jokic, if he wins MVP, he's still gonna lose in the playoffs. So I'm still going. And Luka's still Luka until proven otherwise. But you gotta give credit when credit's due. I'm really big on giving other people their flowers when it's due. So Jokic, he earned my respect. Luka, he's gearing towards that. So you gotta tip your hat to him. Last topic before we get out of here, guys. Way too early. Final predictions.
I'll do my official when we do our preview in a couple weeks, but for now I'll go Bucks versus. That's tough.
Do it. Just do it. Just do it.
What,
just do it. You want to.
The Warriors.
You want to put them there. You want to. Go ahead.
They seem like the favorite, but yeah, I kind of want to see. I kind of want to pick a team that could sneak up and get them, but.
You don't really want to. You really don't want to do that. You want to pick the teams I was going to pick.
Who's that? The Warriors and the Bucks?
The Warriors versus the Bucks.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is right now, don't you think? I mean, those seem like coming into the season, they're the two best teams. I think somebody in the Western Conference is gonna kind of rise up. Like I think you think it might be the Clippers or the Nuggets. I think there's a couple other teams that could be as well. I think at least one team is going to step up and really really threaten the Warriors
Mhm.
and give them a run for their money. But I agree with you. As it stands right now, I think it has to be Warriors versus Bucks.
Let me give y'all let me give y'all a spoiler. This is not a prediction. Let me give y'all a spoiler. I'm gonna give y'all what is it? It's September 27th, 9:02 at 9:02 p.m. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward to June real quick. I'm gonna give y'all a glimpse into the future. The Golden State Warriors are repeating.
Oof.
The Golden State Warriors are repeating. They're
So,
repeating as champions.
it's so early.
Like it's I know, right? So you right now, you've heard me say it first here first, ladies and gentlemen. The Golden State Warriors are winning the chip again. Again. Curry's a five-time champion. Clay's a five-time champion. Draymond's a five-time champion. Steph Curry wants a second MVP. Now, Kobe got five. Steph got five. Kobe got two MVPs. Steph got two. Now we're having a conversation. I'm just saying
Kobe just got one
as
MVP,
far
right?
as career, it's 5-5-2-2. I'm not comparing the two players.
Kobe
But
just has one
now,
MVP.
you said what?
Kobe just has one MVP, right?
No, he got two Finals MVPs.
Oh, I thought you were talking about regular season.
Nope, he got two Finals MVPs in 5-5, 2-2. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my way too early. I'm not even gonna give you who competing in the finals. I'm giving you guys who's winning the NBA finals. The Golden State Warriors are winning the NBA Finals. Steph Curry is winning another championship with another Finals MVP. Now we are having the legit. I mean, it's already legit, but now we're having the discussion. Is he cracking that top five? Is he cracking the top? Is he cracking the top five or not? Win another championship, win another Finals MVP. Is he cracking the top five? We're going to be having that discussion 1 year from right now. As we get ready for the 2024, 2023, 2024 season, we're going to be having this same discussion. Is Steph Curry a top five player of all time? Because if he wins another championship with another Finals MVP, it's time to have the discussion. He's already top 10. He's already top 10. We're going to be having that discussion. So Steph continuing to grow his legacy. Clay continues to grow his legacy. He continues to prove people wrong why he is a top 75 player. I don't know what those players was thinking. Those writers and people that voted was thinking he's a top 75 player, bar none.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you the results of this year's, festivities and everything. Warriors winning the chip.
I'm gonna hold off and wait and see how it plays out, but
Warriors winning the chip.
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it.
Warriors are winning. What I say last year?
You called it right. You called it exactly right. So
I did what? I did what?
You called it exactly right. So I got to give you the benefit of the doubt this year. I'll take your word for it. I'm just gonna wait and see how it plays out.
Warriors winning the chip.
Hey, I can't wait.
We cannot wait for this season, guys. We cannot wait to put on these type of shows for you guys with all the energy and all the fun. Again, we're going to be adding so much into our shows on a weekly basis. So stay tuned with us, stay locked in with your boys, and we're going to put out the best content for you guys possible. Chaz, is there anything else you would like to say to the audience?
No, I think we covered just about all of it. I think we'll be back within the next couple of weeks, for our legitimate preview of the regular season. We'll have our third co-host Tunde, who will be back to join us for that as well. So, I can't wait for this season. Definitely looking forward to preseason getting going pretty soon. Definitely getting that energy up with media day. Yesterday, it's right around the corner now.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that would do it for us. Thank you for joining the Spoken Truth Show.